All right, I call this regular meeting to order at 6:34 p.m. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Commissioner Cordero. Thank you. Adrian, please call the order.
Commissioner Cabot,
Present.
Commissioner Cordero,
Present.
Vice Chair Shea,
Present.
and Chair Huerta.
We will now have a few announcements by Recreation Supervisor Christina Toro.
Tonight's meeting is live streamed on Cable Channel 3 and our online platforms. If you wish to address the Community Services Commission during tonight's meeting, we request that you complete a speaker's card and hand it to the clerk, Adrian Franquez. When speaking, please state your name for the record. If you wish to be added to the distribution list to receive Community Services Commission agendas, please email your request to cscommission@sgch.org.
Now we're moving to approval of the agenda order. Are there any objections to the agenda order? If there's no objection, stay hearing none. Oh, sorry.
No, I don't have an objection.
All right. Hearing none, the agenda order is approved. This is a time set aside for members of the public to address the Community Service Commission on items of interest that are not on the agenda, but are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Commission. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the Community Service Commission cannot answer any questions or take any action until such time as the matter may appear as an item on a future agenda. Adrian, do we have any public comments for tonight's meeting?
We do not.
All right. Approval of minutes. The minutes are a record of the official actions taken at the Community Service Commission meeting. Christina and Adrian, do we have any public comments on the action item?
No.
Okay. The time for public comment on this item is now closed.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Adrian, can we take the vote?
Commissioner Cabot,
Aye.
Commissioner Cordero,
Aye.
Vice Chair Shea.
Aye.
Motion passed by a vote of 3 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 1 absent.
Discussion of 2022 Annual Work Plan Action Plan. Staff will present the 2022 Annual Work Plan Action Plan.
Thank you, Vice Chair Shea. As you may recall, we have the Community Services Commission Action Plan, and this is for 2022. And I'm going to highlight some of the tasks and the commissioners who were assigned and the open space in the open area. So this is just a review, and then after my short report, then we will go into discussion. So the tasks, number 1, create new innovative programs and services to engage the entire community, develop and implement pop-up events, or host an informational booth at events publicizing all transportation services offered by the city. All commissioners are on for item 1A and 1B. I'm sorry, I did not read 1B or C. Collaborate with businesses, organizations in order to offer additional social services to older adults. For example, collaborating with businesses offering tracking device systems for older adults with memory-related health issues. C, develop an internship program for youth to assist with transportation services. So just to review, the commissioners assigned to this are all commissioners from item 1A and 1B, and Vice Chair Shea will lead item 1C.
Christina, can I interrupt a minute? On C, on our paper, it says assist with translation services, and you said transportation.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yes, it's translation services. That's my apologies.
That's correct then. Okay, thank you.
Item 2, connect the entire community to enhance the quality of life. Continue to support health services by partnering with health service providers. Examples include Herald Christian and USC School of Pharmacy. Item B, develop and implement Community Services Department Day, advertising all programs, events, and services offered by the Community Services Department. Item C, connect all geographic areas of the city. Examples include hosting events and programs in the South San Gabriel area and various other neighborhoods. The lead on this would be Chair Huerta. Item 3, embrace and celebrate community diversity. A, propose a moon festival to be held in the Mission District. Due to the potential budget impact of this event, the proposal would need to be brought forward to the City Council for implementation. B, partner and collaborate with various cultural and interfaith organizations to assist in the development and implementation of events and services. Examples include partnering with the HERE Commission, Native American community, and interfaith groups. The lead on this is Commissioner Cabot, Vice Chair Shea, to assist with item 3A. Item 4, plan and create new and enhance open spaces, parks, and community facilities. Item A, enhance current park spaces. Examples include enhancement of Smith Park and updating community services facilities. Item B, seek additional park spaces and amenities. And an example of that includes a dog area and rubberized riding trail. The lead on this is Commissioner Cordero. Item 5, develop innovative resources and tools to achieve our mission. A, collect survey data with targeted questions to improve, enhance, and seek additional services as needed. Item B, identify community leaders and organizations to offer additional resources. Item C, utilize social platforms to reach various audiences, for example, utilizing WeChat social media. The lead on this is Vice Chair Shea. We were also asked to provide the HERE Commission Youth Engagement Survey for this report. All of the data has been provided. With that being said, that ends my report on this item.
Does any commission member have factual questions for staff to clarify the report?
I don't necessarily need to qualify, but then now that we have this in order, what are we supposed to do specifically with each section that we're assigned to?
We are going to kind of put this in order and items that we would like to achieve, and that will happen during the discussion portion of this agenda item.
Which is today?
Which is, yes, today, right after, if anyone has any other questions or if there aren't any comments, then we will begin to work on it.
Okay. Thank you.
Andrea, do we have any public comments on the action item?
We do not.
The time for public comment on this item is now closed.
Okay, so now is the time for the commission to discuss the item and begin to work on this action plan. With that being said, we provided the survey results. Please keep in mind that this is for year ending in 2022. So any items that we only have a few months away, so any items that are not achievable or we do not see that we can do by the end of the year, we can put into our action plan for 2023. So as of right now, I'd like for us to discuss what we can do by the end of the year, one or two items that the commission feels is one, important, and then two, you're able to, attain those goals that are set for the year ending in 2022.
Okay. I would like to bring up something, especially since George is here with the pool. I think we need to add that we do want to try and get funding to improve the pool and the pool area. I would hope before the end of the year that we do get Representative Fong to come and tour it. So George, I've talked to him and his assistant, and what I would like is that we get our name in for disposable funds from the state. Now, we wouldn't know until a year from now, but my feeling is that we need to start now. They give out the disposable funds at the end of the year, and we've tried to get grants, and we've come very close and haven't been successful. So I think we need to find another route, and maybe start with Representative Fong, and maybe bring on other federal and local county people, and start seeing if we can get funding that way. So would you be amenable to give them a tour if I can get it lined up?
Certainly I would be, yes. Yeah. Of course, it has to be done through the city and all that. But
Yes, yes.
I could be the catalyst, or I could be the.
Commissioner Cabot, the time for public comment on this item has closed.
Okay.
But if you are looking to schedule something, or have someone give a tour, staff can definitely assist with that and move forward with it.
Okay.
I have a question. As Commissioner Cabot was saying about the funds, what is the time frame and what are the list or the possibility of these funds or extra? Is there not what else? They're called something else that large companies give funding to cities and different for different purposes where there's need. What would you call that?
Sponsorship, maybe?
No, there's another thing that grants, I guess. I know that there are grants out there, but I don't know how, if we're able to apply for them or if they're only for nonprofit organizations. But
So to answer your question, I think the first question is what are the deadlines? They vary. So depending on certain grants, the deadlines for grants vary. So it depends on which grant you're trying to go for. It sounds like Commissioner Cabot is trying to not necessarily go for a grant, but seek funds in a different manner.
well, I understand what Commissioner Cabot said, but there are other ways to get financing, to finance our pool. It's been years since the whole area has been renovated, and this continues on. So there must be, there must there we go. There must be other funding out there where there's need. And we didn't get that money from the state, but we still have the need. And who puts these grants together? Is it our Community Services Commission? I mean, not commission, but the staff, or is it I mean, who would do
So
that?
several grants are offered several ways. For example, the Prop 68 grant was a grant offered by the state of California. So it's very dependent on the type of grant you're trying to seek. The grant for the Kaboom Playground is a private grant by a nonprofit organization. So that's how we were able to get new playgrounds.
Right.
So it's just very dependent on the type of grant that is available. However, if there is a grant that that any commissioners may know about or that pop up, our staff would be more than willing to and happy to assist with that. But as of right now, to my knowledge, I'm not
But
sure.
that's exactly what I'm referring to, and maybe Matthew would know something about that, but who would be doing the research for the different grants out there for small cities that are in need? Because depending on our economic status. And I know San Gabriel has quite a few families in need, so I would imagine we would qualify for something, but I don't know what's out there. And is there anybody on staff that does this research?
So
Because
typically,
it seems like this is required.
correct. So typically, our director, Rebecca, has been the lead in grant opportunities.
There you go.
Okay, Matthew, you want to say something?
Yeah, so if there is a grant out there that you're aware of or a company that is looking to spend some money on a particular project or has a particular grant available, you're welcome to send that our way. The most recent one, granted much smaller in scale than what would be needed for the pool, would be the Community Grant Foundations that was brought forth by one of the HERE commissioners. They provided some of the information, and then we submitted the application on behalf of the city. So the commission would not be able to submit the application on behalf of the city. The staff would need to do that. But if there's, let's say, a grant that is very specific and it has a tight deadline and you want to send us a bunch of information on it, we can compile everything together. We can work with other groups as necessary. And as Christina mentioned, each grant may have a different set of criteria that they're looking to fulfill. For example, the Prop 68 needed to have community meetings, so that's where you would come in.
But my
play.
question is actually, I guess I'm not phrasing it correctly or asking it correctly. Do we have a section or staff member or a group in community services that actually looks into grants?
Sure. So since we are a small city, you'll see some larger cities will have one person that's dedicated to grant writing or park planning or things along those lines. Since we are smaller, we don't have those resources available at this time. So as Christina mentioned, Rebecca's typically will do some of the grant writing for the Kaboom grants or some of the smaller ones. Like we did the Community Grant Foundation one in-house. But anything larger, especially something that's going to the state or to the federal government for approval, we will typically contract that out because that takes time and resources beyond that of which we have available to us currently. It also tends to require a certain amount of expertise in the area.
Yes,
so
that I'm aware of. So I understand that part, but we don't have anybody actively seeking grants.
Not at the moment, but Rebecca does receive quite a few emails as they come in. So especially bigger ones, those will typically hit the city, whether it's the city manager's office or her office, at which point then we can kind of vet and see if that fits our mold. She recently received word of one, but it didn't fit for what we needed. So they may have certain requirements, like let's say the overall income level may be too low, like our average income for San Gabriel might be too high for that. So unfortunately, for something this large, we hear about grants, but they may not be exactly what we're looking for.
Exactly.
However, if there's something that the commission sees, even if you don't think that San Gabriel would qualify, send it over to us and we can review it. We'd rather be on the safe side, review it, vet it, and then say, no, that doesn't work for us, versus maybe we missed an opportunity.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, Christina.
Can I comment on this, please? Matthew, there's nothing to say that we can't combine a grant, say if we got some discretionary funding from the state as well. We can
Correct.
combine them,
Yeah,
can't we?
sometimes it depends on if there's grant restrictions.
Right, I'm sure.
But yes, in assuming there's no restrictions, you can combine as much. You can combine general fund with 6 other grants if they're all available at the same
Right.
time.
Because some of the grants aren't that large, and we need a large amount. If we are to approach, county and state politicians, when I asked them about it, do we need to give the whole report that we did to make grants, which was pretty extensive, and they said no. Just write a letter saying we need it and here's why, and that's why they suggested a tour. So it's much simpler. Doesn't mean you're going to get any money, but you have to start somewhere. And we haven't been very fortunate with the grants. I know that they were done very well and we came close, but so I think we need to lobby other sources for this. And if we get the ball rolling and somebody said, well, yes, we'll consider it, then you can also go to maybe the county people and say, hey, would you put some money into this, and maybe do it that way. I mean, I'm willing to lobby for it because we haven't had much luck in other avenues at this point. So I'm thinking we can maybe combine grants with discretionary funding.
Yeah, most definitely. Especially with discretionary funding, it doesn't hurt to have
No.
an active community member, especially a commissioner who
Right.
is kind of putting the word out, expressing the need, and then linking it back to staff to do
Right.
the heavy lifting on everything. So
All they can say
that's
is no.
fantastic. Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to ask, and hopefully, at least they were said, yeah, well, we're interested, we'll like a tour, so that's one step in the right direction.
Yes, most definitely. And something like that, we'd want to bring out every expert in the city for that.
That's
since the pool is
exactly right.
Such a large project.
So we'll need to coordinate with you first, and
Mhm.
we'll go from there. Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
Anything else?
So again, we're looking to prioritize this work plan that we have in front of us, and we're looking to maybe set some attainable goals on for the end of the calendar year here in 2022. Commissioner Cabot, just to kind of put it out there, I believe that you mentioned you wanted to receive additional funding for the pool. I believe that would fall under number 4, plan and create new and enhance open spaces, parks, and community facilities, and that would go under A, enhance current park spaces.
And I'm willing to work with Commissioner Cordero on the parks, for sure. Are we discussing any of the others now or not? Okay. Regarding what I was working on, number 3, embrace and celebrate community diversity, this might be something we can at least start before the year is over. I know Commissioner Shea was interested definitely in a moon festival. And I talked with Mayor Ding a couple of times, and he's really pushing for it too. But my concern, and I expressed this to him, is that finding a time. We have so many activities in this town, and to put more on staff is worrisome to me. I think it depends on how elaborate we do with the Moon Festival. If we keep it fairly simple initially, maybe we can do it. I know that he's told me that Temple City and Arcadia have big moon festivals. They also call it, I think, an autumn festival, is that?
Right.
Yeah. So because the moon festival date changes from year to year. So I told him, I said, well, we need to have a static date. We can't be changing it. So my concern is, as it's listed here, budget impact and also finding a time that's feasible. I mean, we just are packed all the time, and it just puts so much on our staff. So I think what we need to consider if we're doing this is, and Mayor Ding has offered to bring someone to talk to our commission on possibilities of how we can celebrate it. So I think we need to keep in mind how not elaborate we need to get initially. You know, start out kind of small so that we don't put too much on staff. That's as far as I've gone on mine. I haven't worked on anything with B yet.
Okay, would it be fair to say for item 3A, the proposing a moon festival, to put that off for the calendar year of 2023?
I think so. You know, I think it's going to take us, we're already into October. So if he can get somebody to talk to us, we can at least start thinking about it. I don't think we can implement it until next year for sure.
Yeah, we feel our planning stage we can start on this.
Right.
But the date it's probably gonna be next year, August, so July or August. So we still have plenty of time to
Yeah.
think about it, and then
Is there a possibility that we can combine it with our autumn festival that we have?
it's kind of different though, because our autumn festival is more like a Halloween thing.
Yeah, we can't really do that.
Yeah. We can work on a plan first, and
Yeah.
then bring up to the commission, and we can discuss it, and later we can send it to
Yeah.
the city council.
We have to decide what can be done first and what we can afford.
Yeah,
Okay.
and again, we're looking to see what can be accomplished, what is attainable for the rest of this
Right.
calendar year.
Yeah, it would be a year from now before we'd even have it, but we can start researching it now. Okay.
I know that we didn't have the New Year festival, the Lunar New Year festival before, but now we do have it. How long did it take to plan that event? Do we know?
Took quite a while.
I think Matthew will come up here and discuss it, but it was quite a process. That budget needed to be approved by council,
Right.
And then we needed to seek a vendor to put on this event, and then the planning stages were done approximately a year in advance.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
Yeah,
And
so was your reference to how long it took to get the first one going, or so unfortunately Rebecca is the subject matter expert here, so she's been here since the beginning of the project. It didn't start off as big as it is now. That much I think staff can say. It's kind of gained momentum, and then once when it really got big is when we brought on KCM, which was the third party that actually did most of the planning for us. Rebecca and one of the council members, or two of the council members, but of course played a large role in it as far as the direction. We also took care of the sponsorships. I should say Rebecca took care of the sponsorships, and staff did like the VIP reception and things like that on the larger scale. But for the most part, that was all contracted out, and we're talking like in the tens of thousands for something like this. And so keeping that in mind, I wouldn't go that scale. Something closer to the San Gabriel Mental Wellness Expo that the HERE Commission just did would be much smaller, or coming up is the Dia de los Muertos event, which is going to be much smaller as far as the budget is concerned and scale. So that's going to be, but still fantastic, unique, and still gets the message of what the event is about, versus Fall Fun Festival as well, which is the streetwide festival. And again, that didn't start off that large either. So
Right.
just to give some, I know that goes beyond what your question was, but just to give some context as to how those start. We will, keeping in mind, one of the items that the HERE Commission also took away from the planning of an event inside of a commission concept was the kind of the constrictions that the Brown Act can play. So for this commission, since it's smaller, only 2 of you can speak about the event at one time, or even exchanging emails amongst multiple. So that constricts some of the planning process. So most of the planning actually has to be done in the commission meeting.
Okay.
So not to discourage you by any means, but just to kind of give you that information that the HERE Commission found out from their planning process. So that's all the information I have, but hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, thank you for the information.
Of course.
It's helpful. Yeah, we can definitely look into this, and then like Commissioner Kappa mentioned that there's someone referred by the council member Dean that would willing to come and share some ideas about this event, and I think the commissioners will be more than happy to listen to what they have to say, and then
Right.
and then we can go back and research this, and then have our own ideas. We can put it all together and see what we want to do. And also, I like the idea that we started small, so we can see how it goes, and then get the message out to the community, and they can get familiarized with it, and later we can see how we want to do with this kind of event.
Yeah.
And any more?
Oh, well, I just think starting out small is definitely a requirement for this, partly because it takes a while to figure out what we want to do. We don't want to burden staff too much initially. Just make it feasible money-wise and time-wise is important, I think.
Sorry, I should add for this one in particular, you would likely want to have, if you are planning on spending any of the general fund money on it, plan together a total budget by like January or February. That's when we'll start working on the budget. So in that way we can implement it into the proposal to council. And or we'll do a separate staff report for this, but then that way you're not caught at the end or beyond that without being able to get that approved
So
by
how,
council.
how would we work this then? We need to put together a proposal.
So
and-
we can put together the proposal for you.
Okay.
As long as we have what you have in mind. So if you know that you want to do 10 street banners and 2,000 flyers, I wouldn't imagine you would, but if that is the direction that you're wanting to go in, we can do the price
Yeah.
quoting for you and give you an approximate cost for it. And that may even help your planning process is like, hey, the street banner costs $1,000, we're not going to do that, so let's scale it down a little bit more. And then that way you have exactly what's approved by council, and then you can continue the planning from there.
Well, at this point, we really don't have anything planned. We're just
Mhm.
just on the beginning
Concept,
stages. Yeah. But that's helpful. Thank you, Matthew.
Yeah, so, Master, sorry. So if we would like to be considered in next year's budget plan, by what time we should be ready have a proposal?
Sure. So if you have kind of a general idea with the kind of a general budget that you have in mind, if that could be done January or February, that would be fantastic. So then
Okay.
that gives us as staff time to put everything together while we're also working on the remainder of the budget.
Okay, and the discussion can be done between us and the city employees
Correct.
on off the commission meeting, or it has to
Correct.
be done on the.
Yeah, so it would need to, if the discussion's going to be had with the commission and staff, it would need to be 2 or under with
Okay.
one of the staff members.
Okay.
Or many staff members, but just only 2 of the
There's only
commission
2
members.
of us meeting with them
Okay. Okay.
because of the Brown Act.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. We'll try to work on it, and at least, like Commissioner Kaba said, that we can get the planning stage moving. Hopefully, we can get it done next year. If not, then one more year. Let's see.
We'll see what we can do.
Yeah. And then, anything else?
I don't have any other comments.
Okay. And then for my portion, I mentioned it, from last commission meeting that I wanted to see if we can get some information from our website access history, our class registration history, and so we can look in the data and see any ways we can improve or anything that we need to expand or eliminate. And also, if we can get a list of current services we provide, or current services we're collaborating with other organizations, so we know which part we can be avoided and then what we can be pushing on and who's not on the list, and we know that we can go reach out to. And on the 5C, utilizing WeChat social media, I think right now we already have someone working on it, and I've seen those WeChat posts, keep updating about our recent events, and that was pretty good. So I would like to talk to what is her name? I'm sorry.
Rebecca?
I think it's
Clara,
Clara.
our city's PIO, Public Information Officer.
Yeah, I would like to, if I can, speak with her on how she's doing the social media part, and then any way I can help with her. I think this can be done, me and her, later.
getting my exercise in tonight.
Sorry.
So yes, we can definitely set up a meeting. It would likely be with you, Clara, Jessica, who's the management assistant that works in the public information office as well as Christina or myself in that meeting.
Yeah, and I think they're doing different languages. I don't know if they're doing themselves or they're having outside.
Yeah, some things they do on their own, and then others they outsource.
Okay.
But they can definitely help fill in the blanks on a lot of that. I know one of the HERE Commission members had a similar discussion, and that was helpful. I learned stuff during that meeting as well. So just let us know when you'd like to have that meeting, and we'll do the coordinating of setting it up for you.
Okay, thank you. Just contact you, right?
Either Christina or myself is fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. I think this is something I can get it done before end of the year. And also at the same time, I think I can talk to them about the develop the internship program and for the translation. I think it's something related. That's task 1C. And just to get some ideas, if they have any ideas as well, just brainstorm it to get it started. And that's all I have.
Good report.
Okay.
Okay, so just to review, so starting at the top here, so these are items that the commission feels are attainable by the end of the year. One item is under task number 1C, to develop an internship program for youth to assist with translation services. So that's one that the commission just stated. An additional is to begin to work on item 4A to enhance current park spaces. Commissioner Cabot and Commissioner Cordero, it sounded, just to kind of recap, it sounded like both of you were going to work together to reach out to, I don't want to call them sponsorships, reach out to the state and the county for additional funds.
And for 1C, I just wanted to start the process, and I'm not sure if that can be done by end of the year, but I can start.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. And then the last item we have here, item 5C, utilize social platforms to reach various audiences, utilizing WeChat social media. Commissioner Shea, that was something that we are going to help you set up a meeting for with our PIO.
And also, if we can get some website information and the class registration, history, and list of current services we have with other organizations where we provide.
Okay, so you're asking for our website information, class data, list of current services, in which organizations partner for those services. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And on 3A, regarding the Moon Festival, I think what we have determined is mainly we just need to get information about it, you know, what we can do and find a date. So again, we can start the process. I don't think we'll get it done by the end of the year because it'll have to be approved, but we can start the process anyway.
Great. So item
3A.
3A. Great. Thank you, commissioners.
Mm-hmm.
Now we move on to monthly department report. Staff will present the monthly department report pertaining to departmental programming.
Our monthly department report will begin with youth programs. Our after-school program at Coolidge, McKinley, Roosevelt, Washington, and Wilson Elementary Schools are celebrating National Hispanic Heritage Month. by incorporating themed arts and crafts and activities. At Jefferson Middle School, the Jefferson Middle School volleyball and co-ed flag football teams have kicked off their season with their first set of games for the school year. The junior varsity football team had their first game against Foothills Middle School on Tuesday, September 20th. Both junior varsity and varsity girls volleyball team had their first games on Thursday, September 22nd against Oak Avenue Middle School. The varsity football team had their first game against La Cañada Middle School on Thursday, September 29th. All teams have displayed great effort and sportsmanship. The recreation leaders / coaches have done an excellent job in getting players prepared for their seasons. Contract classes began the week of September 19th for the fall session of classes. Over 340 participants have registered for classes. New classes for this season include ESL and breakdancing. In older adult programs, the grand reopening of the city's senior programs took place on Friday, September 23rd. Approximately 150 people attended the event, which included resource panels for active living and essential services, an art exhibit, and bingo. Senior movies are now being offered on the second Monday of each month at the Adult Recreation Center. Technology tutoring will begin Wednesday, October 12th. Older adult trips have resumed for the fall. Aquarium of the Pacific was offered on September 27th, and Temecula Winery on October 6th. Whale watching at Dana Point is offered on November 15th. Most trips have sold out with approximately 45 participants per trip. This concludes my monthly department report.
Thank you, Christina. Does any commissioner have factual questions for staff to clarify for the report? Christina, do we have any public comments on the action item? The time for public comment on this item is now closed. Do we move on to the next where we need to discuss?
We can move on to the next item as long as commissioners do not need to discuss this item or have any questions.
Okay. Commission reports. Each commissioner may address the Community Service Commission and public on matters of general information and or concern. This is also the time for commissioners to report on conferences and meetings they have attended. Let's start with Commissioner Caput.
I do not have anything to report on at this time.
All right, Commissioner Cordero.
I have one thing. I attended the mental health fair, and I saw Matthew there, and I just thought it was very well staffed with the different booths to cover so many areas. I went to each booth and talked to the participants, and quite a few professional people there to help the community, and I enjoyed it immensely. And I'm so glad. Is this the first time? I think this is the first, and I hope it becomes a regular thing for every year, because there were quite a few people there, and you could see that everyone was enjoying it and getting information, and the children were there, and I just thought it was very badly needed for our community, and I'm just glad I attended. But that's it.
And I also attended the mental health event. I was actually helping out in the front if there's any Mandarin speaking residents or people from outside the city come to the event and they don't know what's going on over here. And I was talking to them and introduced and know how to do. It was really fun, and I really liked the sound bath thing we had, and I was actually there shooting a video for the whole event, and I put the sound bath and the performance in the beginning of my video, and I was circulating it in the community, and everybody was like, wow, this is so nice, awesome. I really want to attend next year. So I think we'll get really good feedback on this event, and I think it's possibly, if possible, we can have this event going on. But one recommendation I would like to make is that at the event, I saw a lot of nonprofits organization, but I do see other like business, like not nonprofit organization, and I feel like there's a lot of, since we're doing like mental health event, and there's a lot of families that they're even senior, or they have children that who has disabilities or has need help. And I feel for this kind of event, I will recommend if we can stick to nonprofit organizations to provide those helps that we are even county or city provides to assist them, instead of they're there to purchase a service or whatever. I think that would be more helpful. And then for other events like Lunar New Year, that we're getting a lot of different crowds, I think those are fine. But for this one, I just have that one recommendation, if you may consider. Another thing is, I forgot to mention earlier when we were discussing the plan for next year. I wanted to applaud Commissioner Cabot for taking the steps on pursuing the funding from Assembly Member Fong that we discussed in our previous meetings, that she took the first step. I really want to applaud that. And I also want to applaud the city staff that we are not only looking at the grants that we feed the criteria, but also anything that it's possible, even we don't fit, but we wanted to give it a try. I really want to applaud that. And that's definitely that's our city needs, and we really need a lot of help, and we need capable people like commissioners and then the city staff to help our city to grow and then be a better place and improve the quality of life for our residents. Thank you. And that's it. And moving on to staff comments. Dates to remember. Staff members have the opportunity to address the commission and public on matters of general information or concern.
Great, thank you, Vice Chair Shea. So our dates to remember, tomorrow, October 4th, is our City Council meeting at 6:30. Tuesday, October 18th, another regular City Council meeting at 6:30 p.m. And Friday, October 28th, is our Fall Fun Festival in the Mission Playhouse Plaza, and that event will take place from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at night.
I guess I'll address this to Christina and Matthew. Is there anything you need us to do for the Fun Fall Festival? He's going, yeah, of course.
So during all of our Fall Fun Festival, we have our costume contest.
Right.
So if any commissioners are free on that Friday, October 28th, we would definitely love the assistance of commissioners to help judge the costume contest.
Do you have any comments with that, Matthew?
Yeah, that's perfect.
That covers it.
If you are interested in working a booth or an info booth or really getting to know the community in that aspect and really kind of face-to-face, we welcome you to do that as well.
What's the booth you're talking about?
So we have an information booth at the event. We'll be having carnival game booths. I know that's probably a bit more out of the box than you were thinking, but that's always available. Really anything that's at the event you can be involved with. So if you're interested in it and want to do it and want to get involved in that aspect, even beyond the costume contest, we welcome you to do so. Okay. But yes, most definitely the costume contest.
Should we call Christina? And
you're welcome to reach out to me. I'm taking the lead on the event, so you can just go ahead and send it over.
I've done it a couple times. It is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
And
And
I'll
you
be
get to
s-
hand out the medals too, which is really good.
That'll be nice. How many judges do you need?
I'll take as many as you want. We're changing it up a little bit this year, so hopefully it'll be even easier to judge. But we we'll welcome anyone. So
I'm ho-
ideally 3 to 4 would be
I'm
great.
Okay.
hoping that, are we doing something that everyone wins? I hate it when children have to lose.
Sure. So there will be age categories, and then there's categories within the categories. So quite a few kids win. However, not everyone can win. Unfortunately, we get a ton of kids that come out, especially
Oh.
for the like 5 to 8, the kind of like elementary school age, to where if we were to try and give them all a medal, it would be too costly.
I can see if it's a ton. I
yeah.
really can. But sometimes it's just a few, and there's only 1 or 2 winners, and there's only 1 or 2 children who don't win.
Right.
Don't want to call them losers.
Well, the
you
other
know,
option
so
would
it's hard.
possibly just give them a certificate of participation. That wouldn't really cost
Yeah,
anything.
we can definitely look at that. I
Yeah,
think
so
in years
everybody
past.
would get that,
Mhm.
and then the winners would get the medals.
That would be great.
Would
Sure.
If that makes Commissioner Cordero happy, let's do it.
We can
Yes.
definitely do something
Yeah.
along those lines. Yeah. we
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Another question then, are we still doing the trunk or treat on the
Yes.
31st? Okay.
Yeah, still trunk or treat, still community booth games. So Adrian in our office, as well as Amy, is taking the lead on the community booths. So if you know of anyone that's interested, you can provide them Amy and Adrian's contact information. They'll send them out the letter as well as the application. It'll have all of the information that they need. We provide all the candy, so really all they need to
Yeah.
provide is the decorations and/or their game, and then take it from there.
And that's on that date at 5?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
And just to corroborate, when you judge, you usually wear a costume?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. That makes it more fun.
I would have an excuse to wear a costume. Great.
I need to
That's
dig
right.
in my garage.
There you go. Okay, thank you, Matthew.
What time the judge need to be there? Sorry.
I know I should just stay up. My apologies. Most likely, we'll ask that you get there around 4:30. That way, I can give you the directions before the chaos ensues, and in the quiet of an office rather than out in the festival. It'll be right on the stage this year in front of the Playhouse. So I think in 2019 was the only year that we did it inside the Playhouse, which was great. It was just a bit more involved than we initially anticipated. So we'll be back out in front of the Playhouse, and then a table will be set up in front of the stage, kind of cordoned off so people aren't on top of you while you're trying to judge. But you'll check in with me around 4:30. But if that's something that you're interested in, I'll send you more details via email as we get a bit closer as well.
Yeah, yes, please. And how many organizations have already registered to come at this point, do we know?
Adrian, do you know off the top of your head?
Okay. And then we are comfortable with the number, right? With the number of organizations?
Yeah, so if we can get between 10 and 15, that would be fantastic.
Okay.
We'll make do with however many show up. If more groups want to do it, even better. But yeah, between 10 to 15 would be ideal. So just send them over to Adrian.
And last year we only had the trunk and treat, and this year we're gonna expand it and have all the in-person activities. And all that,
Correct.
right?
Yeah. So Mission Drive will be shut down from Santa Anita to Broadway.
Nice. Sounds good. Thank you.
Of course.
One more question.
One more question.
Sure.
Will there be food vendors?
There will be food trucks as well.
Oh, great.
Who's the one bringing the food trucks, vendors?
So we have a contact that we've been working with. So I'll be working with them this week to get them all finalized. Yeah, but it'll be a variety of different food trucks.
And they are the contact we're working with are the ones always bring the trucks to the city events?
Not always. It's only been recently that I've been working directly with him. More often than not, we'll contact individual food trucks, or we have a list of people who already have a business license with the city, so it makes it even easier.
Right.
And then we'll just give them a call and invite them to the event.
Right.
But if there's food trucks that are interested, they can give us a call and we can work them in as well. But it tends to make it easier if you have one contact who can book you 5 food trucks for the entire event.
Right. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Of course.
All right. General staff comments. Staff will present dates to remember for upcoming event. Oh, we did it. Sorry. Jumped my mind. Adjournment. I just don't want this to end. The next regular Community Service Commission meeting will be held on Monday, November 7, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. Information regarding matters to be considered at each meeting will be available on the Friday before the Community Service Commission meeting on the city's website at www.stgabrielcity.com. This regular meeting is now adjourned at 7:28 p.m.